Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tea and Crystals podcast. I am T.
And I'm Crystal.
Ladies and gentlemen, as always, we are so happy to be back with you all for another episode of this here podcast. We got a lot of good stories for y'all. Mine actually has a theme, Crystal.
Ooh.
My stories have a theme this episode. I'm not going to tell y'all what the theme is. Y'all will figure out at the end of the episode. I'm sure you got a lot of good stuff too, Crystal. But before we get into all of the goodness, y'all know how I got to start the show. Crystal, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. It was a pretty relaxed week for me. I had relaxish. I did have some more responsibilities handed to me for the last couple of days. But I think they went pretty well, other than a few minor things that, don't forget this, remember this, yada, yada. I think it went smoothly enough. So I feel a little bit more prepared for when I had to step up a little bit more. But I did get a title bump, which
hey, come on now, title bump.
I'm not just a PA for the rest of the show. I'm considered an actual AC. So,
hey.
I'm really
Hallelujah.
excited about that. I was really excited.
Hallelujah. So, congratulations, Crystal. I'm so happy for you, bitch.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Come on.
So excited to put that on my resume. So excited.
Like, you a slick son of a gun. Yeah. You slick, girl. Yes.
I had to say something. I had to save something for the show.
Yeah, you right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so exciting.
Yeah. And other than that, it's been pretty good. Me and my mom, we watched this show on Netflix that I thought was really cool. It was called Adolescence. And I know it's been making waves for the theme of the show. I know you haven't watched it, so I don't want to give spoilers away. It's 4 episodes. It's pretty interesting the way they did it. The general consensus is that a 13-year-old boy is being accused of killing one of his female classmates. And you learn pretty early on kind of like if he did it or not. But the one thing that's very interesting is a lot of times when you see shows like this, you get the perspective from either both parties, or you get the perspective from mainly like the victim, how they lived, how they interacted, stuff like that. This one was done completely opposite. Because of the way it's shot, you really only get the perspective from him and his family. And not really him, more his family. His family has no idea this stuff has been going on, this stuff was happening, and then suddenly, next thing you know, their daughter's being beaten down and the son's being arrested. The 13-year-old child is being arrested for this heinous crime. And it's a shock for this family as they go through the process. But one of the things that I really wanted to highlight is the fact that, I don't know if it is, I haven't looked it up, but it seems to be a one-shot take. So
that's what I heard.
Yes. So when you first start, when the episode opens up, whoever you're seeing, like, there's no cuts. There's no, we're going back and forth between. No, it just follows you. When they get in a car, they follow you through the whole drive. When they want to transition to a new perspective, that person is going to walk across the screen and you'll just see the camera now follow that person. But it's essentially, once you start on the episode, you're with that family and the people around them for that next hour. There's no...
That's crazy.
I love the way it was shot. Loved it. So I don't know if that's one thing that really, I mean, the subject matter itself is an important topic to talk about. And I've seen the debates back and forth, and has sparked the kind of talk I'm sure the writers, the creators, and everything wanted to talk about. But I think one of the things that made it as compelling as it is the way it's shot.
Right.
So I definitely recommend for people to watch it, if nothing else for the technical aspect of it, because I just really liked how it was shot. But that just might be the filmmaker in me. But it was good.
That is, me, para mí, certain stuff I just don't like to watch because it be sitting on my spirit for a long, long time. And I don't know, because I've heard, what the story is dealing with and stuff. I just don't know. It's too real. It's
It
too
is.
real, and it's but the way that you're talking about the way that it's shot and all that stuff, that really intrigues me because I want
Mm-hmm.
to see, you know, a story, given to us in that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't know if I could, you
You
know.
know, the heaviest part is probably the first episode because you
Mm,
don't know if he's telling the truth. You don't know the facts. You're learning everything with the family, and it's an
hmm
emotional time for the family. Once you get past the first episode, then it does some small time jumps. So you're not just staying with that incident in that moment the whole time. You know,
mm,
you're seeing them 3 months later, 7 months later, and then I think 15 months later, you know. And it's
okay.
not just like the first episode is with the family, the second episode is essentially the investigation, so they're primarily at the school, so you're seeing the friends and the girls' friends, and you're learning that. And then the third episode, I want to say, I think you're back with the family. You're back with the family like for like the last. Oh no, I'm sorry. The third episode is the boy. It's essentially a hour long therapy session. So you're with the boy and the
Okay.
therapist, and then the fourth episode you're back with the family from the beginning to see
Mm,
where how their lives have been affected 15 months on, and kind of get the resolution. But if nothing else, each episode feels pretty wrapped up in some way. So I would say at least watch the first episode. You know, if you continue on after that, but you get the answer that you're kind of looking for on the first episode. You know whether or not he's done it or not by the end of the first
mm,
episode.
okay.
The everything else will come later if you want to continue, if you want those answers, but as far as whether or not he did it, it comes in the first episode, and I think and it gives you an idea of how the rest of the show is shot. So I say at least watch the first episode.
Okay. Well, we will pick this back up and discuss it around Thanksgiving when I
Okay.
get to it. Okay.
Thank you. Yes. Considering what is it?
you know,
March, and we still haven't talked about the what is
the
it?
Squid
The Squid
Game.
Game. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been so long I can't remember the name.
I'm 2 episodes in. And that was like and that's over like 2.5 months.
Yeah.
Um
So
honestly, I don't know. It's good. I can say that from what I saw in the
yeah.
first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
The remainder of the season, I don't know because I haven't seen it.
I felt like
But
it was good, but I can't really remember anymore because it's been so long.
right,
So
right,
I
right.
need a refresher.
Well, hopefully y'all can remember the first 2 episodes by the time I get back to it, because it, it's so bad. I'm really bad because even like I watch Bel Air. Whenever the last season of Bel Air came out is when I started it, and I still have like 3 or 4 episodes to go, and that was maybe like 6 months ago or something.
Okay. Yeah, he's terrible at it.
I'm so bad. Anyway,
So, for our audience, if you guys have seen Adolescence or even Squid Games and you have thoughts and opinions on it, please let me know in the comments, because it might be the only time I get to have a discussion with anybody about it.
shade, shade. Also too, and as well here at the beginning of the show, because we've gotten the message that you all enjoy our banter at the beginning of the show, and I think we're really gonna hold on to that and to those that like it. And I was discussing with Crystal in our pre-show meeting that I want to bring an element to the show dealing more with music, because I am a music file. I love music. It's my bread and butter, my heart and soul, my every desire. I love music. And I really want to bring it to the show. So I, in my personal time, make playlists for music so I can remember what I've heard over the year and stuff. And I want to incorporate that into the show. I want to share my musical taste. Crystal can come with her bops too. It's the T and Crystal bops. I'm going to be creating a playlist on Spotify each week. I'm going to come with the Bop of the Week. Crystal can also come with the Bop of the Week, and I will be adding them to that playlist, and it will be linked in the description wherever you're listening or watching, so you can click it, go to it. Spotify is free to listen to with ads, so I don't want to hear no excuses. Okay, so we're gonna be bringing those to y'all each week. and it'll have something for us to build together. You can think about it when you get to the end of the year. You can play all of these bops back. Make it your New Year's playlist because I'm coming with the heat. Okay, they can be new songs, old songs. I have a lot of shit that y'all have never heard before. Y'all are finna get y'all live, so I'm excited. I'm actually gonna start
Okay.
this week. I'm gonna start this week, and this is a very obscure song. A lot of y'all probably won't know it, but it is entitled "Sitting Sideways" by Paul Wall. Y'all know Paul Wall, Houston's finest. Paul Wall, sensational song. I'm choosing it because at least here where I'm at, we're starting to increase in the weather. The sun is
Mm.
coming out more. Spring is in the air. That hint of summer excitement is tingling in my belly. And this song is perfect riding music. Take your windows down, put the volume, crank it to the max, and ride out to this song. So y'all go check out the playlist in the description. It'll be one song on there, but it will be it will be building over the years. So make sure that y'all go back each week and check out the Tea and Crystal's 2024 Bops playlist. Thank you very much.
Aren't we in
Crystal, you ready to get into the
2025?
mess? 2025, bitch.
He ain't even in the right year.
That's how behind I am. That's how behind I am. I'm still trying to catch up on shit in 2024 here, 2025. So I'm still in 2024, y'all. Far as y'all girls are concerned. You ready to get into some other people's 2025 business?
Yes.
Okay, let's do it. So this one comes from the subreddit r/am I the asshole, and it is entitled "Am I the asshole for yelling at a mom and her kid to get out of my home?"
Mm.
Girl, wait. Because I have some things to say, but I'm gonna let you get yours off first. A few months ago, I started a new Dungeons and Dragons campaign and invited a few friends. One of them, Sarah, asked if her friend Anne could join. Anne is a mom who doesn't get many chances to hang out with adults, so I agreed, even though I knew she could be flaky due to child care responsibilities. I asked Anne if she could attend the first few sessions to get familiar with the game, and she agreed. She then proceeded to cancel, mostly last minute, every proposed first session for the next 2 months. I told her I'm sorry, but if she can't make it to the next proposed session, she won't be in for the long campaign, but she would still be welcome to join one shots. She apologized and said that she would make it. She made it, but brought her toddler without asking. As soon as they came, the kid needed to use the bathroom. He made a mess since he can't fully use the adult toilet yet, and I told Anne that's fine and asked her to clean it up. This surprised her, and she started being on edge a bit. We finally sat at the table, and the kids started running around looking for things to do. I was a bit stressed out by this. Anne noticed and put him on her lap. But now the kid was at the table, which was covered in minifigures, dice, pretty pictures, and maps, and mostly choking hazards, along with glasses of various drinks. The kids started fussing and about wanting to play with them. I was telling Anne no because it's not safe, and she told me he's gentle and doesn't put stuff in his mouth. We bickered while her kid was throwing a tantrum. After the kid knocked over the glass, I loudly asked her to step out into the backyard and calm him down a bit while I made the table safer. She did, visibly embarrassed, and I removed everything except for plain looking papers, pens, and paper cups. Here we go, y'all. I done lost my story. Hold on. I done clicked on something. Hold on. Here we go. Sorry. Um, she said she did, visibly embarrassed, and I removed everything except for plain looking papers, pens, and paper cups. I also did my best to calm down as this entire thing stressed me out to hell and back at this point. They came back and things were fine for a minute. That is, until my dog came out of the bedroom to drink water. Now, I don't have many house rules, but I have one that's important. Ignore the dog. They were informed of that before coming over. The kid spotted her and yelled, "Doggy!" Anne put him down to say hi, and he made a full speed beeline at my dog. while making grabbing motions and yelling. I stopped him by stepping out in front of him, and he ran into me, fell down, and started crying. And started screaming at me, and I screamed back. And very swiftly after, told her to get the F out of my home. Sarah was annoyed and told us that it took an hour and a half to get to me, then went with Anne since they carpooled. The rest stayed and it was awkward for about an hour or so, but we ended up having fun and they ended up staying the night. I then woke up to the local Facebook groups and people's Instagram stories calling me a controlling asshole, saying that I'm discriminating against various players, being too strict, and have a dangerous dog. To add insult to injury, Sarah, who I've been friends with for years, is not speaking to me. So, am I the asshole?
I mean, from your perspective, no, it doesn't sound like it. I am curious, the fact that Sarah isn't speaking to you either, because if she was there to witness how everything went down, I don't see how she could be against you. But we'll go based off of your story. And then that is that no, you're not the asshole. I mean, I know that it's hard when you have children to find time for yourself. And if she was flaking after 2 months, like that shouldn't be an indication like, hey, you don't have the time to do this right now.
Right.
And you should have kind of maybe stuck to your guns with like, instead of saying if you don't come to the next one, you should have said, hey, it's been 2 months. We've been trying to get you to come. Like, it's not working out for this time. But like the next time we do something like this, maybe then you'll have more time. In the meantime,
Right.
you can still come to like solo games. I think that would have been a good compromise. And I think it was a good compromise for you to have brought up. It's was a it is an asshole move for her to have just brought her kid without informing you. I don't think that's cool in any aspect. Like if you're planning to meet up with somebody and you're going to bring your kid, you got to let us know. Like we got to be
Right.
prepared for that type of stuff. Um Even if it's, if it's a last minute thing, you just said you're an hour and a half away. At some point, you could have texted, hey, I got to bring my kid. So the people you're bringing the kid with can be prepared for stuff like that. If you're coming into the house, I want to make sure that your toddler isn't going to be hurt by anything around, including my dog. That's another thing. I don't know why you, as a parent, thought it would be okay to just let your child run towards a dog you have no
Girl,
idea about. Why wouldn't you
say
say, is
that.
your dog friendly? Can they play with them? Are they good with kids? Like, I would have asked those questions because why wouldn't you? You don't know how dogs are going to react to any. And kids, no matter how well you think they are, can be really rough with animals, especially if they're not used to them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's completely on her, which is why I'm confused why the friend Sarah isn't seeing all this. Like, girl, really?
Mm-hmm.
But either way, you're doing these types of activities because you want to de-stress from regular life. This is your fun time. This is your time when you want to enjoy yourself. So you're not discriminating by not including certain people. You were trying to include her, but she just ended up making the whole night stressful for, I imagine, everybody. I'm not saying that she couldn't have been included with her kid, but she also didn't take the steps on her end to help you make it an atmosphere that could have been better. Maybe you guys could have set up a corner where the kid could have been safely enclosed in with toys and stuff like that that she could go and check on every once in a while. Maybe other people had kids that could have brought their kids so that they were occupied while you guys were doing this. There was other
Right.
ways to handle this situation. So because she was also yelling and you were yelling in response to that, that's why I'm saying not the asshole. If it was just you getting mad and just screaming at this person to get the fuck out without them having done it either, then maybe I would have said that. But the fact that you were both screaming at each other, like, but if this, you're in these groups and she's tearing down your name, defend yourself. That's what I would definitely do. Bring, let them know, let people know your side of the story, because oftentimes when they hear both sides, people will make the decision to, you know oh, this actually wasn't cool.
Right.
You weren't just being controlling. Like, there was elements to this that, made sense for you to react the way you did.
Mm-hmm. I am in agreement with you, Crystal, but I do have a couple of things. I do have a
Okay.
couple of things. Um, I agree with you totally that it was inappropriate to bring your child without letting them know. Not
Yeah.
inappropriate to bring your child, but just
Right.
that you didn't inform them that you was bringing the child because that is something like, oh, okay, well, I would have liked to have known it. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because we was finna get crunk in here, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't really, we all got to kind of keep an eye on this baby because I got shit around the house. Like my shells ain't anchored to the
Yeah.
wall, bitch, because I don't have no kids.
Yeah.
And I don't want my shells falling on your child. You know what I'm saying? Um, I think, however, just in the way I operate, I feel like the OP didn't make that she didn't make any adjustments to make it conducive to having a child there.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was like, this is an inconvenience and I'm not going to do anything to remedy it.
Right.
She was like, I'm just going to leave everything as it is, knowing that this child can ruin everything. And I'm just going to let the child ruin it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It almost read to me as if she knew it was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like she knew that the child was gonna get into some shit that the child wasn't supposed to, and she was like, "I'm gonna let it happen because that little bitch ain't supposed to be here no way." You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? That's how it came off to me. Because I
Right.
know if it was me and somebody bought a uninvited child,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I would be like, "Oh, okay. Well, let me get this baby some juice. Can
Mm-hmm.
they have juice? Can they have
Right.
crackers and shit?" And I'm finna turn on the TV and you finna sit here and watch Gabby Dollhouse or something while we do what we need to do. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And you don't need the volume on the TV, no way. You a little teeny tiny thing.
Mm-hmm.
You really in it for the visual effects. You know what I'm saying? So it
Right.
don't even have to disrupt us like that. And the baby will stay there while
Mm-hmm.
we do this. At least for a while. If you got to bow out early or something, or if the baby needs to take a nap or go to bed or something, while we here, go lay little baby down on the bed. The sheets is
Mm-hmm.
clean, whatever. Um, I feel like that could have been something that could have avoided all of this. Some
Mm-hmm.
people, kids are clingy and want to be next to mommy and daddy and want to da 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 da. But at the end of the day, if you're in the situation, kids are gonna be kids,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not going to admonish or come down on the parent for the kid being the kid. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? It's annoying that the kid is here, and I feel like she was low key taking that out on the mom. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Which is understandable, but I also don't think that's an appropriate response because it's
Right.
a kid at the end of the day. It's a baby.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I
Yes, be annoyed at the mom,
right.
but let her know, like, hey, make the situation comfortable for the kid and everybody this time. But make sure you let the mom know, hey, girl, that was not cool. Like,
Mm-hmm.
my house was not prepared for no child to be over here. Like, it, if you, this is a child free environment,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. And if you can't find a babysitter, then we'll have you over for the one offs,
Right.
and let that be that. You
Right.
know,
But
and
I feel like a lot of it leading up to the moment was to me more internalized. Like it wasn't until
mhm.
the mom was snapping at the OP that the OP was snapping back.
Right,
Like,
right, right, right.
her letter is riddled with annoyance, yes,
Mhm.
but she didn't react to it unless the mom reacted first,
Yeah,
if what I'm remembering correctly. So it's
yeah.
like, yeah, maybe she didn't think to set her up with juice or the baby with juice or a TV or something like that. But also maybe they don't have the experience with kids to think of those things. You know, if you're not around kids a lot, if you haven't been around kids a lot, you're not going to know what to do when a kid is suddenly in your environment. So
Mm,
you don't know, oh, they might get into this, they might get into that, because you don't know how the kid's going to be. This kid could have been perfectly well behaved and would have just sat there the whole time, or it could
mhm.
have been, just exploring
I would give
everything.
that to her if she hadn't mentioned about the table, because she
Hmm.
knew the table was finna be a problem.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I would
But
get that to her, but
but
it's like
she
y'all
said
got little
that.
cousins. Y'all got, you know what I'm saying?
But maybe there are some people who don't have cousins.
But
You
we know
know,
how
we
to act
don't.
around children.
Maybe if you're around children, we
But
don't
I don't think you
know.
have to be around children to have context of, how to care, not how to care for a child, but
Hmm.
you knew that you ain't want no kids there. So you know how kids cut up.
But she didn't. Yeah, she knew that she didn't. But the kid was already there. It's not like she had time to be like,
Yeah.
oh no.
Right.
So it's like she had to just go along with it. But
Yeah.
mind you, when it came to the table, she did know that those things are delicate. But the mom was the one who said, "Oh, don't worry, she's gentle. She doesn't put anything in her mouth." She
Yeah.
reassured her that the stuff on the table was fine. So she went with it. She was like, "Okay." But then
Yeah.
the kid ends up messing up the table, and that's when she's like, "All right, go outside, control the kid because it's crying right now, and I'm gonna fix this so that it's more kid friendly because now I know all the things she's gonna go for, or it's gonna go hit him, her, whatever."
I want to make that clear. I don't have no problem with how she reacted to the stuff that was happening because that's
Right.
understandable. This shit is annoying. Da, 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 da. My point was when you realized that the child was here and the child was here to stay, we should have did it that at the door, make the child comfortable, or let the lady know, hey, this is a child-free environment. It's gonna be some stuff going on here that this baby don't need to be around, and we could have avoided all of that. And I don't
Yeah.
think it take you raising kids or anything else to have that context. You know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't around a lot of kids and stuff when I grew up, but
Right.
like when my cousins and stuff started having kids, there's a certain way to handle children, and if you don't know, ask the parents.
Right.
Like we always ask, can they have this? Can they do this? You know what I'm saying? Like you want this child out the way, so get this child out the way. Ask what can
I
Does she
think
watch TV? Does
in
she
that in that instance, I think that responsibility does fall on the parents. If you're bringing the
It
child,
do.
yeah. So,
It
and
do.
like I said, if this person is not exposed to children, they don't know how to ask those questions. Like, first of all, your first point of it is saying, you should have said, if this was a child-free environment, you should have. But that right there, in the eyes of everybody in the room, might have made her the asshole right then and there. If you see a child walk in, you're like, this is a child-free environment. You can't be here. People are going to be like, what the fuck? Like,
I
especially
mean,
if they
but
know. But
she has the right to do that though.
she does. But
Yeah.
most people aren't going to do that. They're not going to just kick someone out because they have the child. They're not going to be, they're not a confrontational person. Like, I would never do that. If someone shows up with an unexpected kid, I'm not going to be like, you can't be here. I'm going to be like, annoyed about it.
But these are options that are on the table. I'm not saying that she needs to do this, but these are options that are on the table. There are possibilities here where
in
we
the
could have
grand scheme
avoided
of things, yes.
Yeah, where we could have avoided all of this.
Yes, but in the moment, as a person, I don't see these as options. Like, I'm not thinking of them. They're not in my head, so they don't exist.
Right, and that's you.
Right,
That's
and that
you.
could be her.
And it could, but she could also see it from our point of view. That's what I'm just saying. I'm just giving a different perspective. Like, I'm not trying to pigeonhole her to be like she's only thinking about it this way. I'm saying you are absolutely correct. Here is also another way to handle it.
Right.
Because you and I handle things different ways.
Right.
That's human nature. I'm just laying out what's on the table. All of this could have been avoided.
Yeah.
If we had went about it this way. I'm not saying that she the asshole for kicking that lady out her house because, girl, that's your house. You know what I mean? And the baby was cutting up. The only thing that I do have issue with, because I wanted to make sure that I framed that first part. This is just another way she could have handled it. The thing I do actually have a problem with is the dog. Is the dog. Because I feel like if you have a ignore the dog policy, you need to take that dog to the kennel, or you need to have that dog at your friend's house, your mom and daddy house, or you need to have that dog put away somewhere where nobody's gonna be, and he have all the food and water that he need.
Yeah.
Because for me, I'm cool with dogs. whatever. It depends on the size of the dog. For the dog, if it gets too big,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. I'm starting to get nervous. You know what I'm saying. And if you have a ignore the dog or don't interact with the dog rule, I'm low key like, I don't want to come over your house, bitch. Like, I don't know what that dog finna do. I don't know why you have this rule. And if you're not laying it out for me, because maybe it's the dog that's like socially anxious or something and he poops on the carpet. If people come too close or something, then that's not, nothing I need to be scared for. But if you just giving me a blanket like ignore the dog, I'm gonna be like, why?
Yeah.
And if it's to the point where, because I get that I don't even know if you were trying to protect the child, because you would have said something, because I feel like
been more protecting the dog than the child.
Stepping in front of the child to the point where the child ran into you and fell over. I, as the parent, could see why the mom got upset. It was like, bitch, like, because girl, like, you could have put your arms out, you could have did anything, swept the baby up. I don't care if you pick up my baby, bitch, or something, or steered the baby in another direction or something, or grab your goddamn dog, bitch. Why you knocking my baby over? You know what I'm saying? From getting to your dog. And from her perspective, it may have been like, oh, I don't want my dog to do whatever to the child, but I feel like your energy should have been directed at that dog and not my child, even though my child was in the wrong. But it's a I know I put the baby down, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's a baby. The baby don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I would be upset personally if somebody knocked my baby down.
Right. I mean, I agree. When they saw the baby, if they have a note, me personally, I probably would have, put my dog in a room just to avoid it all and keep it all safe and stuff like that. In terms of whether or not they should have stepped in front of the child, I would have had to have seen it, because I don't know how big of a space. I don't know how quickly that baby was running, how quickly to get to the dog, what the urgency was for me to get to the dog was, in terms of which one I should have gone for first. Like, if she had touched him, is this dog going to turn around and attack? Or is it more like, my dog's going to be definitely afraid, Because if my dog's going to turn around and attack, I personally would have probably stepped in front of the baby and just risked them just falling down. Because if I grab my dog and my dog sees this child, and still, like, there's no guarantee I'm going to be strong enough to just be able to pull them back, and that baby might have been hurt, especially if the baby keeps going for them. I would have to have seen the situation to really assess which one was in the right in terms of how you went for
from
it.
OP's perspective.
Right, from OP's perspective.
Yeah.
Because
but as the mom,
because it's happened. It's
how she got upset,
I don't know. Just because I've with my nephew, when he's running, I've stepped in front of him and he's fallen back and crying, but it wasn't like hard, because they're not running very fast anyway.
But that's your nephew though.
I know, but still, like I'm saying, like, it wasn't like it.
There's no malice.
I don't think that, but there was no malice in them stepping in front of the child either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's no malice in it. So I can't
say I mean, parents get upset about their kids in the littlest of ways. So I'm not saying they're wrong for how they're reacting or anything, but I think the way they're reacting is just because of a series of events that was happening that night. I don't necessarily think, if everything had been going smoothly and that one thing had happened, which she has still screamed at the OP. Like, I just feel like they weren't vibing with each other. And so with this happening, that was the incentive. Like, again, it's something I would have had to see to be like, oh no, you shouldn't have stepped in front of the baby, or, calm down. Like, they're just trying to protect your child, because you're the one who just let them down and ran towards the dog, not knowing this dog, or at least knowing that I have a policy that says no, ignore the dog. Because he said everybody there knew it. So I have to assume that she did also know it. So I don't know why she decided, ignore the dog, except for my 2-year-old child who's now going to run towards it. I don't know. But so I'm not saying like she was overreacting. I would have to see how it happened, because there are instances where that exact thing happens, but it's not as bad as a parent makes it out to seem.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. But as a parent, there are certain sensitivities that you have for your children.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's that's one where you got to give the parent grace.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know, because you if she had or something like, oh, let's
Yeah.
not do that,
Right.
or
Right. Right. Right.
or even pick the child up,
Right.
that would have been something different than just letting my baby knock into you and fall over
Mm-hmm.
like, girl,
Right.
because that ain't helping nobody. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Because you ain't grabbing the dog, you ain't grabbing the baby.
Mm-hmm.
There ain't nothing between your dog and my baby other than your legs
Yeah.
that was there before. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Grab somebody, girl. If it's about the dog, grab somebody. That's
Mm-hmm.
and that would have really bothered me because I'm like, bitch,
Mm-hmm.
like, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like I would have reacted that way too. Because people real protective about their kids and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only thing in this letter where I am like, all right, girl, like
Right.
that dog should have been somewhere else if it was all that,
Right.
you
Right.
know. So over, I think everybody sucked. To be honest, I do because
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mad at her for the first half of the story
Mm-hmm.
because that is what it is. That's the kid being the kid, and that's her not being prepared.
Mm-hmm.
But this whole dog situation, that's something to me that is concrete. With this dog, that dog shouldn't have been there.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Now
Right.
I don't have context for how the dog cut up,
Mm-hmm.
but if it's all that for this dog, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like when my little one came to the
Yeah.
house,
Mm-hmm.
you knew them dogs. They
Mm-hmm.
got to go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
feel like, but you know, and I'm not comparing that to
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
this story because she didn't know the baby was coming.
Yeah.
However, if the baby show up,
Mm-hmm.
you know to put that goddamn dog up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, if you don't want, that's
Mm-hmm.
common sense. Because even for my mom's dogs and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, when she's at parties and stuff, we ain't know kid was coming or not, but she always put them up because one of them is afraid of kids,
Mm-hmm.
and he will like yip and yap at their
Yeah.
ankles and stuff. And she just foresight. She's like, y'all asses is going in here. Y'all food, who y'all water and stuff. So we ain't even got to deal with that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get into your story, girl.
Okay. All right. Mine is from the subreddit Am I the Asshole? And this one says, Am I the asshole for secretly recording my professor making sexist remarks and getting him fired?
I'm sorry. I thought she was gonna say she was secretly recording sex tapes. I was like, oh, bitch.
What a letdown.
Escándalo. Like,
The rest of the story is just like, nah. Sexist remarks. Thought it was
That's my bad.
thought it was a porn recording. No.
So sorry.
Okay. I, 26 male, am in my final year of university, and I had a professor, Dr. R, who always made weird, borderline inappropriate comments. At first, I thought he was just old fashioned, but over time, I realized he was blatantly sexist. It started subtly. He would call on male students more often and dismiss female students' answers as lucky guesses. But as the semester went on, his comments became worse. He once said in class, women just aren't as naturally gifted in logistic based subjects. And another time, when a girl asked a question, he laughed and said, if female students spent less time worrying about their looks and more time studying, maybe they'd get better grades. Whenever we had a difficult topic, he'd smirk and say, this might be a little hard for the girls, but don't worry. Just smile at your lab partners and they'll help you out. Then one day, he completely crossed the line. A girl in my class wore a tank top because it was hot outside, nothing inappropriate, just normal summer wear. He paused the lecture and said, wow, dressing like that for extra credit? Bold strategy. Some people laughed awkwardly, but the girl looked mortified. She barely spoke for the rest of the class. That was when I decided to start recording. Over the next few weeks, I captured multiple instances of him making sexist comments. The worst was when he joked that women should focus on easier fields because STEM was too stressful for them. That one really pissed me off because there were girls in the class working their asses off and he was acting like they didn't belong there. I compiled everything and submitted it anonymously to the university's disciplinary committee. They launched an investigation, and within a month, Dr. R was fired. Now, some of my classmates, mostly the guys, are pissed at me. They say I ruined a man's career over a few jokes and that I should have just ignored him. But a lot of the female students have thanked me, saying they've been uncomfortable in his classes for years. So, am I the asshole for recording my professor and getting him fired?
This is crazy. This is crazy. How did that man get away with that for so long?
Mm-hmm.
How did nobody report him? Like, wow.
Because it was just jokes.
But I'm like, if you got enough female students going to administration and stuff, like, this man is saying some crazy shit in the class is not relevant to the subject matter, and there needs to be a full investigation. It would be kind of a word of mouth situation, because if somebody comes to observe the class, he's not gonna say that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you get a concentrated amount of female students over a long enough span, there's a pattern here.
Yeah.
All these girls can't be lying. You know what I'm saying? That is crazy. The only thing that I'm like wondering is like, what state do you live in? Because you can't just be recording people without their permission. I don't know if things are different on campuses. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know what state you in, because you know some will allow it, some do not. So I'm curious about that. Maybe it's different on this college campus. Maybe you could say that you were recording the lecture,
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know, because there are some. I've been in courses where you weren't allowed to record, but they let you know that. You know, you're not allowed to record the lecture, whatever. So I don't know what that is there. I'm just like, girl, I hope he don't sue nobody.
Well, I was about to say, because the only thing
that
I
makes
can
me
think
nervous
of is that it might be a little different in terms of campus, just because you're not submitting the thing to like police, like it's just to the dean of the school. So maybe that's something. And because it's technically supposed to be anonymous, I don't think the professor is supposed to ever know who submitted those recordings. So they're not going to be able to just fire them. If he were to
sue,
that's what I'm saying.
Then,
like,
you know, the school would have to give over that information. You know what I'm saying? It's just like with Facebook and stuff, where they say all your stuff is encrypted and we don't see your messages or whatever. Let the police. There's been cases where the police go to Facebook. It's like, girl, get the messages up. Yeah. And Facebook is like, okay, girl, actually, here they are. We had them the whole time, bitch.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm just afraid for him to seek revenge on her. I'm glad she did it, but that's the only thing in the story where, I'm glad
it was a man. It was a male.
Okay, yeah. I'm glad he did it. But I just don't. I hope that the professor don't try to do no shit to him.
Right.
You know,
but
monetary wise. But
it doesn't sound like he's really keeping a secret if his classmates are like, dude, what the fuck? Like, you ruined this man's career. Like, so he must be telling somebody that, you know, oh yeah, that was me. I did that because he's got classmates coming up to him one way or the other. But yeah, I agree with you.
I think it's crazy that he would say something like that. Kudos to the OP for going that far and getting his ass up out of there. Because some of these professors and stuff, they be getting too comfortable. And sometimes you got to let them know what the fuck on. Maybe one of these days I will tell, if I haven't already, bitch, because I be forgetting this shit I say on here. The story about me and a professor who bitch, we came close to blows. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes these people be forgetting, like, at this point, bitch, we level. We're here. The only thing you control in this hoe is my grade, bitch, and that's merit based. Okay, you can't just mark up my papers, bitch. The quality is there.
Yeah.
So you'll get these hands just like anybody else. You understand me? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to OP. He had to go.
Yeah.
The comment about the young lady's tank top is nuts.
Crazy. Yes, I agree with that.
It.
But you know what? At the same time, in this day and age, you know, a lot of times, unfortunately, depending on who is in who leads to the top, like these types of things, these complaints do get swept under the rug because of who's in charge and everything like that. Maybe it was the fact that he came with actual recordings that it caused the administration to actually have to do something about it. Or
Mhm.
maybe it was just the fact that that administration just had the right people in the right spots in that moment for something to be done. Um, we don't know if anyone had made complaints. I'm sure someone had to have made complaints about this professor if they
Mhm.
were that blatant about it for so long.
Right.
But unfortunately, us females especially, we learn pretty early on to kind of pick and choose our battles, because especially when it comes to college campuses, we learn that the complaints we make don't necessarily, and it's not just college campuses. I mean, it's in the workforce. It's everywhere. It surrounds us. So it might have been a thing of, for the boys, they're like, oh, they're just jokes. But for girls, it's like, it's just a comment. I can get over a comment here and there. I'm not trying to, I'm not going to be in this class for longer than just one semester, and I can move on with my life and forget about it.
Mhm.
It's a pick your battle type thing, because at the end of the day, if you're ruffling feathers, a lot of times for females, it can turn on you and suddenly you're the person. Because I mean, look at him. These guys know, but they're mad at him for ruining this guy's careers because they were just jokes. Imagine what
Right.
they would say to a female if it was a female that did it,
Mhm.
you know?
You absolutely right.
So I can see why he did skate by for so long without any real punishment.
Yeah. 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 I just feel like it would have taken again a lot of girls and women over a long period of time for it to finally come to a head. Because, like you said, we see these things play out, and it's not until there's some type of pattern, there's some type of track record, and enough people affected by it at one time speak up loud enough for them to finally look at it and be like, God damn, we've been letting you skate this whole time. Like, you've been terrorizing this campus. And you bring up a really good point. We just talking tonight, y'all. I'm sorry. This may be a longer episode, but y'all, you're welcome. Um, I think you bring up a really good point, especially nowadays with this. And I hate the fucking acronym because it's kind of a trigger thing where people just stop listening. But the whole DEI situation, diversity, equity, and inclusion, right?
Right.
Doing away with that, I feel like people really don't see the harm that's going to cause. And I mean, that's because we know why.
Yeah.
But in situations like this, especially for women, if white women can't relate to anything else based on disability, race, preference, all that kind of stuff, identity. If they can't relate to that, they can at least relate to being a woman. Some of them can't. They proved that in the last election. But at least they can relate to being a woman. And these initiatives really help women. And in cases like this, where young girls on these campuses don't feel empowered to speak up, at least if they look up the chain of command, the hierarchy, and they see that there are women, because sometimes women can be your worst enemy as a woman. However, there's a better chance that that woman in that leadership hierarchy is going to be the one that you can go to and can actually, she's going to have to plan, how she handles it very carefully, but there's a chance there.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's just men and it's a boys club up there and they don't really have to give a shit, it's much easier. Oh, that's just doctor whatever. He's so, maybe they'll say it to your face and be like, oh, we take this so serious. But when they get back there to the water cooler, bitch, Dr. G back there tripping again, but that bitch, it has some big ass titties. Like, I ain't go, you know what I'm saying? That's how these men talk. And it's even made me uncomfortable at times in conversations and stuff with men in what are supposed to be professional settings. I have had men, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I have had men say some crazy shit to me in a workplace about other women. I have. That place that shall not be named. There was one person who used to play the fiddle. I'm gonna get in trouble, bitch. Who used to say some wild shit to me. And he was in front of the women. He was just the nicest, jolly, like goofy ass. person.
Mm-hmm.
But we would get in the corner and he'd be like, and I'd be like, oh my God. Like, why would you think to say that to me?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And shame on me for never taking it anywhere. But I mean, that place was, bitch, I come here to do my job, not go home.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
I hated
saying?
that place.
Girl. But that just goes to show you, even me as an example, who believes totally in standing up for this type of stuff. When I was put in that situation, you know, I didn't necessarily take it anywhere.
Mhm.
That's because, you know, to be honest, girl, fuck this place. I'm going home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When I leave the parking lot, bitch, I forget this place exists.
Yeah.
But we can see how that works in those power dynamics. So
Mhm.
while some of you girls are cheering on the end of these initiatives and stuff, you're really maybe shooting yourself in the motherfucking foot.
Yeah.
Because you're going to see shit get real sticky. We finna revert and y'all finna have even less of a voice. Whatever voice you gained over the past 20 years, bitch, you're about to lose it.
Yeah.
Okay? You need these
Yeah.
people in these positions to fight for you, to cape for you,
Mhm.
to share their experiences and use the power that they have amassed to protect you in the workplace. Because nobody or on campus, anywhere,
Yeah.
nobody should have to be subject to that type of inappropriate speak. Like,
Yeah.
period.
I read something. I didn't get to read the full article, but I think Ronan Farrow just did an investigation, which is a good example of what you're talking about, where this man went unpunished for his crimes against, I don't think it was just women, but people. I'll keep it general, people, for years, despite the fact that people had been pointing out that this man was doing wrong against other people. I think it was in a small community. I don't know the full aspects of the story. I just know points of it. But essentially, there was a female detective or officer or something that spent years trying to find someone to investigate this man because they had done a search warrant for his house for something, and they found a list of names that ended up correlating with victims either previously or eventually. And so this detective or this officer was trying to find someone to really do a deep dive and investigate this man because they believe that he was harming people and minors. And she was just getting a runaround from the locals because they were just like, oh, he's harmless, he's fine, he just needs some time, like it's whatever. I want to say it spanned like a good decade or so. She like ran it all the way up to the FBI, was like, I think he's here, like, because I think he might have escaped at some point or ran away. But she was like, she did her own investigation. She was like, I believe he's here in this area, but like nothing ever happened, nothing ever went anywhere. And so recently he had been captured in the exact area that she said he was going to be at years later. I forgot why it was, but they ended up, I think he either confessed or they connected him to not only to the list of names, but other people, crimes he had done against people and minors. And he himself had even said the cops didn't care about trying to arrest me. They didn't care what I was doing. And it's like, but if it wasn't for this woman who like recognized this is a serious predator and kept at him, despite the fact that she wasn't getting the response she was looking for, she still spent the next however many years constantly hounding officials in the local department and federal departments, like as much as she could, doing her own investigation and making sure that there was enough information there for when someone finally did take it seriously. I mean, if it wasn't for her, he'd still be out there terrorizing people.
Isn't that a shame?
Yeah.
It really makes you think, like, what affords him the privilege to be able to fly under the radar like that?
Yeah.
Like, how do you hear reports and stuff like that as an official and you're just like, yeah, it is what we don't have the evidence and we're not really gonna go find it. So we're not gonna set up a sting on him or anything. We're just gonna let him terrorize the community.
And it's not like all of his victims were killed. Like there's like I said, what I saw was just like little snippets of the article, so I didn't get to read the full article yet. But like, there's quotes from actual victims who were like, "Yeah, I reported it, and it just didn't seem like anyone cared or anyone was interested in what I had to say."
Fucking
So
nuts.
yeah, I am really interested. I only just saw it like yesterday or the other day, but I think I had saved it because I do want to go and read the full story because it sounds interesting.
That may be something that you need to bring to the show. That may be a true crime situation
I
where
was about to
we
say, yeah,
recap it and look at it and see like what
because
was
it
this
does sounds
about?
like
Like
an
how
interesting story. Yeah.
it really does sound really
Mhm.
interesting, substantive. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, thank you for that, Crystal. You ready for a break?
Yes.
All right, y'all. We will be right back after these messages. Ladies and gentlemen, T here. I hope you're enjoying the show so far. Listen, we need you to do us a solid. We need you to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening. Share what you love about this here podcast and help spread the word about this hidden gem. If you have any stories that you'd like to share with us or anything that you would like for us to share on the show, please do so by sending it to our email, which is in the description for you below, or in any of our DMs on our various social media platforms. Now, let's get back to the show. And we are back. Krista, you ready to wrap the show up, girl?
Yes.
All right, let's wrap it up with a little game that we haven't played in a little while, Crystal, and I love this game, and I know you do too. It is Would You Rather. Yes, if y'all don't know Would You Rather, it's a game where I'm going to ask Crystal increasingly more difficult Would You Rather questions. I'm going to ask her 5 questions, and with each round, she's going to have to make a harder and harder decision. Are you ready, Crystal?
I'm ready.
All right. Would you rather, number 1, would you rather never feel happiness again but live forever, or feel constant pain but only live for 10 years?
That's a terrible choice. Like, you are going to be essentially miserable in either instance.
Yeah.
How
One
much
you get to live forever though, and the other one you only get to live for 10 years.
how much pain am I in?
It just says constant pain.
Constant pain.
So it's more than an ache, but I guess it's less than agonizing.
I don't know. That is a hard one because it's like you're not exactly, living forever but never knowing happiness. Like, I guess maybe you can get close to happiness. So, like, it's not a completely miserable life, although you're living forever. So that in itself can seem miserable. Or you're just in pain, so you can't even then you're not enjoying life. You're not happy. You're not finding happiness. You're probably very limited. So after 10 years, you're just ready to die.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's it gonna be?
I guess the 10 years so that I have a light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh, wait.
I mean, when you think about it.
Yeah. Okay.
Because if you live forever but you never know happiness, then you can never find peace.
Yeah.
So at least with the 10 years.
I wonder if like laughter and stuff count as under the umbrella of
Right.
happiness. Because if I can laugh and shit, then I'm Gucci. Like I can go through like melancholy,
True.
I'm that way anyway.
True. True. Like if I can find laughter and stuff like that, maybe, because then I could just focus all my power in trying to create a good world.
An environment where you can,
I would have all the time to do that. All right, so maybe I'll switch my answer to live forever. But
because I'm about to say, bitch, come on,
I don't know.
Fight for your life.
At the same
Chris
time,
was like,
it's
I'm 10 years, bitch. I'm ready to go.
I'm ready to go. I'm out. Yeah.
Okay. On to the next one. Would you rather have permanent bad breath that you cannot get rid of, or constantly smell like body odor no matter how much you shower?
Bad breath.
Bad breath. That's right, bitch.
Bad breath.
You are absolutely correct. There are no right answers,
There
but you're
is no,
correct.
but yes, yes.
Okay.
Bad breath 100%.
Absolutely not, girl.
Mhm.
I cannot. If I even get a whiff of musk, let me tell you something about me. If I'm leaving the house for real,
Mhm.
I'm finna have a little stick of deodorant with me, especially if it's warm outside. I
Mhm.
don't know what, you know what I'm saying? Especially after you get out the shower and you think you done dry it down for
Mhm.
real, and you put your little deodorant
Yep.
and stuff on it, but you ain't really dry down the way you need to dry down, so that shit kind of slick off. Round 2 o'clock, you might lift that arm up to put something on the shelf, and you might be a little tart. So you girls, y'all need to pay attention to this. Some
Mhm.
of y'all a little tart out here. You don't smell yourselves. But I
Yeah,
smell you.
I carry
Okay.
deodorant in my bag when I go to work, especially if I'm working
Yeah.
outside. You need a refresh every once in a while sometimes.
I'm telling y'all, there's a lot of y'all out there that don't know it. Y'all be ripe and you don't know it. Carry that deodorant stick with you.
Mhm.
Some of y'all need a little go to your local Ulta Beauty. Go in there, go to the front desk, tell them I'm really interested in this perfume and or cologne. Could I get a sample? Put it in your purse and or your back pocket. Some of y'all need a little emergency because I ain't saying whatever. If you're using an unscented body wash, that natural scent ain't it. Okay, I'm just saying. All right, next. I'll take about stuff off. I'm sorry. Next, would you rather be trapped in a pitch black room with something breathing next to you, but you can't see it, or be chased through the woods by an unseen creature that you can only hear? They carrying on in there. Okay, you know what? That's all right. I'm gonna tell you para mí. Oh, that is hard. Damn. Cause I don't want to be. Cause no, I'm going with the pitch black room. I'm going. I'm because they ain't saying he touching me. They just said they breathing next to me, and I would rather be still and no. Because if I'm in the I'm getting chills just thinking about it. Like being chased through the woods by something I can't see, but I can hear that hole is crazy.
Um, well, you guys can see I'm not running through those woods. I'm not running.
Oh, Crystal, shut up.
I'm not going to be running through those woods. I'm going to be in the dark room.
Girl,
Come on.
shut your ass up. I cannot stand you.
That
I cannot stand you.
run would not last very long.
Girl.
Now, granted, you did not say if they caught me, anything bad would happen. So then maybe, I can just get this over with and be like, all right,
But you
you
know
got
what?
me. You keep on trampling behind. I'm going home now. No more running.
Because that white side, the white girls in the movies, they be tripping.
Doggy.
Oh. And on to the next one. Would you rather wake up buried alive in a coffin with only an hour of oxygen, or wake up strapped to a hospital bed while an unknown figure slowly approaches you with a scalpel?
The coffin.
What you gonna do? The coffin.
I'm going to do the coffin. Because I'm assuming the scalpel's going to hurt me. But with the coffin, once you run out, you more or less fall asleep.
Okay.
So I'm going to say coffin, even though that is terrifying in itself. Like, I really thought I was going to go with the strap to the bed as the scalpel. Now, but it also depends. Is the scalpel going to hurt me, or is he just going to keep backing up and then coming towards me and then keep backing up and then coming towards me?
Yeah. I guess
if
it's
it's
the
that
anticipation.
case, right? If it's that case, then
Yeah.
then I would choose a scalpel. But if it came to dying in the coffin after an hour, or him slicing me slowly up to death, then I would choose the coffin.
Damn. I think you're right.
Mm.
I think you're right. I thought I was going to go with the bed, but when you put it like that, it's really like, am I going to go through that torture before I, hopefully bleed out? Because I don't know where he going to start on me.
And the scalpel, those are just slices. So that's a lot.
Jesus,
that's a long time
mercy.
before I'm out.
Yeah, you're right. Let's go with the coffin. Goodness gracious. Okay, you ready for the last one?
Yes.
All right. So this is a bit of a different one. There's a scenario before the would you rather, right?
Okay.
So you can only save one. There is a train track. On each track, there is something tied down to each track that cannot escape. The train is coming at a breakneck speed, and you only have time to save one, Crystal.
Okay. Okay.
So would you rather save the three-legged puppy, or would you rather save a mama bunny with her 5 newborn babies strapped to her back?
Sorry, mama and babies.
Oh my God, Crystal. Crystal.
You never knew true life anyway. New life anyways. I'm gonna save that puppy.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna save that puppy. I'm gonna love that puppy. That puppy's gonna be my baby. What am I gonna do with the rabbit? Eat it afterwards? I don't know.
But the baby.
I know, but they're so tiny anyways. It'll be over quick. Train's
They
coming
haven't
fast.
even had a chance to taste their first blade of
Exactly.
grass.
And the thing is, rabbits procreate so quickly. So there's going to be other baby rabbits out there.
And you know what? I'm with you when you're right. I'm with you when you're right.
This
Because
baby,
their daddy probably got 2 or 3 other little hordes of babies around there.
exactly. You can just dig up a grass and you'll find another baby rabbit, a mama rabbit with all the babies. I'm going to keep this puppy because that puppy's going to be my friend. I love the puppy. Puppy's going to grow up. It's going to get a
But you really
companion.
gonna watch them babies get roped?
No, I'm going to turn around and save the puppy. And as I'm saving the puppy, the train's going to go by. I'm going to know it happened and I'm going to feel sadness. But then my puppy's going to be licking my face and I'm like,
6 little lives for one.
for the one. And he's going to live the best life ever for those 6 rabbits. Because if I had saved those rabbits, that rabbit's going to that rabbit's grown. It's an adult.
That rabbit more than likely is going to eat its own babies.
That rabbit is leaving. It's not staying
Right.
with me. It doesn't imprint on me as like, oh, I need to stay with this person. That rabbit's like, thanks, goodbye, and I'm never going to see that rabbit again.
Now I hope
Stay
it's
with
coming
the
up on Easter, so I hope Peter Cottontail don't listen to this podcast because Crystal, you not getting no type of basket this year. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. He's not gonna like your disrespect for his kind.
Yeah.
If you wake up in the morning and your basket is just a basket full of what would a rabbit? What would be the equivalent of coal for Easter?
Grass blades?
Grass?
Maybe?
What?
Grass blades?
Grass blades.
I
Just a
think so.
basket full of grass blades, no candy, no nothing.
No.
You may get and he may leave. Don't rabbits make them little pellet poops?
Yeah.
He may sprinkle a couple of them in there.
That's okay.
I was about to say something gross. Anyway, let's
You
get
don't
out
really
of here.
smell it. It doesn't really have a smell or anything to it. Good fertilizer. No. Because they're hard. For the most
And you're
part.
still justifying your actions.
What to tell you.
It's gonna be good fertilizer.
I'm not
You know
feeling
what?
bad about this situation. I'm saving that puppy who's going to be my companion.
Right. I don't know who I would say, to be honest. I may just turn around. All of y'all got to go. 'Cause I can't choose.
You can't choose, so you're just going back and forth.
I'm like, damn. Did I take that chicken out the freezer? Let me go home. Anyway, well, thank you for a wonderful episode, Crystal. I know, girl, we got into the conversations this episode. We only got 2 stories out.
I know, that's crazy.
Girl, but I hope y'all enjoyed, this extendo episode as far as the stories are concerned. And thank you as always for joining us for another episode of the Tea and Crystals podcast. If you like what you heard, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening. Make sure that you also leave us a written review. I'm not gonna cuss y'all out. Crystal said I was hostile with y'all, so I'm gonna be nice. If you like what you saw, make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe on the YouTubes. Shout out to the YouTube community as always. If you have any questions, comments, or you would like to share your own story or anything that you saw online that you think would interest us, you can do so by dropping that in our DMs or to our email. That is tandcrystal@gmail.com, TEANDCRYSTAL@gmail.com. Subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Facebook by searching Tea and Crystals Podcast. Follow us on TikTok at Tea and Crystals Podcast and on Instagram at Tea and Crystals Pod. And you can find the links for everything in the description wherever you are listening and or watching. Now, Crystal, is there anything else you want to say to the people before we get the hell up out of here?
As usual, let us know what you think of the stories, what you thought about Timmy's music choice. Let me know if you listened to it and how you felt about it. And of course, please let me know what your answers are to the Would You Rather, particularly the last one.
Please.
Because justify it for me. Like, thank you.
Easter's around the corner. I want y'all to get the baskets. Choose correctly.
That basket ain't going to last long. Bye.
Bye, y'all.